So let's talk about how to build and close on the like list. Okay. So, and this is part of the component of increasing your average order. This is going to be relevant whether you're doing a presentation for somebody who owns Cutco or somebody who does not own Cutco. Your job is to build the like list, also sometimes known as the wish list. I like to call it a like list because I think a like list is a little bit more open than something that somebody might wish for. We'll get into that in a minute. But the idea here is anytime you do a demo, I want you to reframe your expectation on, hey, I'm here to like sell some Cutco or sell them a set or sell them some pieces, Angel. And your job is to actually make a list of stuff throughout the entire catalog, one of which might be a set, and the cookware and the flatware and the gardening tools and the barbecue stuff and the hunting items or whatever it is, and make the list as big as possible. And this is how you can increase your average order by 2, 3, 4, 500 bucks. Okay, so let's go ahead and start up a presentation here, and let's talk about some of the keys to building a great like list. All right, we can empty our cart here. All right, so we start up a presentation here. Staley, have you used the practice or have you used the interactive demo before?
I think I've used it once or twice.
Okay, cool. Yep, we moved over to the interactive demo. Much more cleaner, much more beautiful. Okay. So, it's not an accident that this first picture in your presentation has everything. It's got the gadgets, it's got the cookware, it's got the stuff in the background. It's also got the forks and the spoons and the knives. And so you want to be thinking your job is not a knife salesperson. Your job is a kitchen consultant. If you want to write that down, reframe that. You are a kitchen consultant. Your job is to consult them for all of the needs in their kitchen. Now, when you're first brand new, what do we teach you to do? We teach you how to go through the homemaker pieces, close on a homemaker, galley set, starter set, build a wish list. So you're going to do, a pick five special. By the way, sorry, my hands are dirty. Like I said, fixing wife's car with tire situation. But um, you have them do a pick five, and then you do a buy three get the fourth for free, and you close on a gadget special, or you just reserve the buy now bonus. But that is just barely scraping the surface of what real sales and what a real professional representative looks at when as far as closing and working with the customer. Okay, so one of my first tips for if you want to write this down is the way you want to look at this is that if somebody buys a homemaker, that is just one item on their wish list or their like list. That's not the order. That's one of a number of things that you want to help them put on their order. Right. And if they already own Cutco, then you're still going to build the like list. Right. But what you should also be talking about is an upgrade. So the objective is to help every customer, right? The loose objective is to help every customer worked their way at some point in their career or at some point in their purchasing lifetime into a kitchen, right? Into the Cutco kitchen. And the Cutco kitchen is where it's right here. That's what you see in this picture. It's where they have a set of knives. It's where they've got the pots and pans, and ideally they got the forks and spoons, all the gadgets. That's what we got. That's what we call a Cutco kitchen. So you want to reframe yourself of a big order isn't selling a homemaker signature or ultimate set. A big order is helping a customer either upgrade to a kitchen or get a kitchen the first time. Now, I'm not going to tell you to do a full kitchen close. Okay, that's something that later on in your career, when you're $100,000 in sales, if you want to learn a kitchen close and do it that way, that's great. But what I do want to do is help you, add the gifts and accessories and build the like list. And then most importantly, sometimes it gets a little bit weird on how to drop down if you've got this big random list of stuff. So let's say the customer decides to get a galley set. Well, whatever, we'll go with the homemaker. Homemade, we sell homemakers all the time. Okay. So we added a homemaker to the cart, and you know what? Maybe they wanted the entertainer pack for free. So now we add the entertainer pack. Most reps are like, cool, let's check out. You might forget to do the gifts and accessories section. Or maybe you go through it, but you're not quite sure how to pitch them and help them help them see all of the different things. So this is kind of like an advanced gifts and accessories section as far as this is concerned. So as you go through things like the table knives, again, it's Gwenny teaches you in day one of training. She gives a tip, which is how many and what else, right? Can you see yourself using that? Mrs. Jones, a lot of people decide that they want some extra table knives to go along with their set. Could you see yourself using, extra 6, 12, or 8 table knives? Do you ever have company over at the house? Do you ever, have big occasions or things like that that you do? Oh, you don't? Oh, you do? Okay, great. How many do you think you'd need? Or how many do you think you'd want to add, right? Maybe your customer already owns a homemaker set, right? So then you're just going through the gifts and accessories section and you're walking them through all of the other things so that way they understand what they might be able to add to their set. So, Mr. Jones, have you ever noticed a situation where you don't have enough table knives? And what you're doing is you're just, again, it's this micro situation of finding a problem, creating a solution, or just, excuse me, uncovering a problem, providing a solution. You ever notice that you don't have enough table knives, Mrs. Jones? Or could you see yourself doing bigger events where you might need more table knives? Oh, you do? Okay, cool. Well, Mrs. Jones, could you see yourself adding another 4, 7, 8, 10 table knives? I always throw a prime number in there because it's kind of weird. Mrs. Jones, another 4, 6, 8, 12, 31 table knives? No? Hey, no problem. Or yes, it's like, actually, I do want to add some table knives. Great. Mrs. Jones, how many? 4? Oh, you just want an extra pack of 4 table knives? Cool. Hey, Miss Jones, do you care about it being in a gift box? Not really. You just want to have some extra table knives to go in the drawer? Sounds like a plan to me. Great. Now we added 4 more table knives. Mrs. Jones, how are your forks and spoons? That's all you need to ask on this slide. How are your forks and spoons? They're okay, right? And by the way, customers that are in the market for good flatware, know they're in the market for good flatware. Every other customer is just kind of like, yeah, we've got stuff that's good enough. But if somebody's interest gets perked a little bit, you can say, hey, Mrs. Jones, good flatware isn't cheap. The reason people buy our flatware is because they'll never have to buy forks and spoons ever again. The nice part about these, okay, there's two main selling points to our flatware. Number one is we don't change the design. How many of you at home have what I like to call hodgepodge flatware? Where mom's bought like a couple different designs over the years, right, Sean? And what happens? You lose them, kids throw them away, they get lost in the sandbox or something like that. But the problem is flatware companies know this. They know that people are going to lose their flatware. And they know that people are going to go to buy some every couple of years. And so Tyson, when mom's flatware doesn't match, she feels like she needs to buy a whole new set of flatware, right? Cutco doesn't change our design. 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, you go to buy a fork or a spoon from Cutco, it's going to be the exact same design. And losing them is the main concern. Oh, as far as the Cutco ones? Gotcha. Yeah. If people have little kids, I guess that makes sense. Sean, what you could tell your customers, maybe a solution to that. So Sean says, some customers say, "Oh man, the flatware would be nice, but I'm just worried that we'd lose them." Um, some customers will keep them in the chest and pull them out for nice occasions. And yeah, if you got little kids, I guess losing flatware is what you might say, Sean, is, hey, maybe now's not the right time for flatware, but when your kids get to be 5, 6, and 7, and they're not little kids anymore, Mrs. Jones, I'll be calling you back to help you get that flatware chest. But the nice thing is, one, we don't change the design. Two, they're guaranteed forever. How many of you have ever had a spoon go down the garbage disposal and get all nicked up? Nice part about our forks and spoons is that they're guaranteed forever, and they also come with the table knives. Now, um, Nick, during his SC2 push period a couple years ago, one of his orders that he had was a customer bought a set of flatware, and she was like, "Man, but I've got a ton of kids, and grandkids and stuff like that." She's like, "I just don't think 12 place settings would be enough." And he goes, "Well, why don't you just buy 2 of them?" She goes, "Okay." So she bought 2 chests of flatware. It was a how much is the flatware right now? $1,400, I think. Chest. There we go. Oh, 1833 right now. Well, I think at the time it was like 15 something. Um, but 1833, that would be a $3,600 order of flatware. Who thinks it'd be pretty cool to have a $3,600 order. Now, by the way, that's not every single customer, by the way. It's probably 1 out of 100 customers you have that would be the kind of customer that buy 2 flatware chests. But, right, you want to be aware of those things and just ask, oh, hey, what if you got another set of flatware? And sometimes all you need to say is what if, or could you see yourself using that? Now, as you preface the like list, I'm going to have you write this down because I got ahead of myself. Okay, as you preface the like list, anytime that you're doing an appointment for a customer and you close on a homemaker, or maybe they already have a homemaker, they already have a set, you're going to say, hey, Mr. Jones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through our catalog and we're going to make what's called a like list. And this is anything you see yourself using. Okay, I can put this in the chat box too. Let me type this out for you. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to walk you through our catalog. And I want you to make a like list, right? Or a wish list, same thing. But I like to call it a like list. And this is anything you see yourself using in the next 10 days, weeks, months, years, or decades. The last one's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek joke because none of us are going to be alive in 10 decades. Except for Staley. Staley might be alive in 10 decades. Me? You think I'm going to be alive in 10 decades, Staley? No, I eat way too many burritos, too many saturated fats for that. Okay. Staley could do it though. So, Ms. Jones, this is anything you see yourself using the next 10 days, weeks, months, years, or decades. Right? And it's just basically like if Cutco, and this is this is the second thing I followed up. If Cutco were falling out of the sky and you had to run out, in the street and pick up the stuff before your neighbors got it, what would be the stuff that you'd go after first? Right. So I want to open that up because sometimes when you walk the customer through the gifts and accessories, if you maybe you've had this happen, customers are like, well, that'd be nice someday, but that's not a today thing. Anybody ever had a customer say that? Oh yeah, someday that'd be nice. Okay, what you're trying to do is you're trying to shift that, Tyson, from hey, even if it's a someday thing, let's put it on the list today. And it doesn't mean they're going to get it, right? And you can also say that, Mr. Jones, this doesn't mean this is what you're going to buy today. It's just anything you see yourself using the next 10 days, weeks, months, years, or decades. And the idea, Tyson, is the bigger we can make the list, if you want to write this down, the higher you start, the higher you finish. Okay? The higher you start, the higher you finish. The bigger you make the list initially, the easier it is to drop down to find something to find a bigger package. If the list is a small list initially and you have to drop down a couple times, then you're looking at just a couple of pieces. Just fine. Mrs. Jones is going to love those couple pieces, but she's also going to be super excited when she gets the stuff she actually wants for her kitchen because you've built a great like list. So the idea here is I'm gonna spoil my ending here. The idea here is you also want to get some of the big stuff on the like list. And Sean, maybe a way to handle the objection of I'm afraid that I would lose them is, hey, Mrs. Jones, Cutco actually only goes up in price every couple of years due to inflation. The best time to buy Cutco's flatware was like 20 years ago. The next best time to buy it is today. So what some customers do is they'll actually buy some of this stuff. They'll stash it until they're not worried that their kids are going to lose it anymore. But then you got a great deal on the flatware chest today, and you can always use it a few years down the road. You guys know people do that, right? With like Christmas decorations. People do that with household items like, oh, we don't need this right now, but in a year or two or 3 or 4, this is a really good deal on this item. We can put it in the storage unit. We can put it in the attic. We can put it someplace because it's going to save us. That's part of our kids program, by the way. So we'll talk about that in a second too. All right, Mrs. Jones. So could you see yourself do you like the look of these? Could you see yourself adding a chest of flatware? We're going to throw the chest on the cart. She goes, yeah, I could see myself using that someday. All right, cool, Mrs. Jones. Awesome. Well, let me walk you through our cookware. Mrs. Jones, Cutco also makes really good quality cookware. It's American made, forever guaranteed. It's the healthiest cookware you can use, which makes it a great investment in your family's health. Okay. Let me give you the quick skinny on our cookware. Okay, this is called waterless cookware. In fact, let's watch the video really quick first.
Hi, I'm Derek Fidel, Cutco sales professional, here to give you a brief introduction and the features and benefits of Cutco cookware. To talk a little bit about the materials used in Cutco cookware, we actually use a 430 magnetic steel surrounding the pan. This will make it so it's induction stove capable too. On the inside, we've got 304 surgical grade stainless steel, which is very durable, very easy to clean, and of course is dishwasher safe too. Now, although it is dishwasher safe, we do recommend washing it by hand. On the inside layer, we actually have 3 layers of aluminum. So even the lid has the same construction. So your food will cook from the top down, the sides in, and the bottom up. So it's basically like a mini oven cooking your food.
All right, pause. Let's talk about that really quick. Did you guys know that aluminum is an extremely good conductor of heat? Okay. So why is this important? There's two ways that people cook vegetables, for example, which is the easiest thing to explain here. What are the two ways that you'd cook vegetables? If you're going to cook broccoli, how do you cook broccoli? You boil it is one. All right. Or steam. Okay, here's the problem with boiling broccoli or steaming broccoli or vegetables, okay? How do you make coffee? You boil it. And then here's what water does. Water is extremely good at temperature at extracting nutrients out of food. Right? So what do you do when you make coffee? You boil the coffee bean, you extract 80% of the nutrients of the coffee gets sucked into the water, and then you throw away the coffee beans or the coffee grinds. Right? When somebody's boiling broccoli, Angel, you're actually doing the exact same thing. You're pulling 80% of the nutrients out of the broccoli, and then like you're dumping 80% of the nutrients down the drain, and you're left with like the leftover broccoli. You'd actually be better off like micronutrients wise, vitamin stuff wise, drinking the broccoli water and chucking the broccoli. Now there's some fiber stuff in the broccoli that's helpful for your, for your diets to get enough fiber, but that's the idea. So boiling, not a great option. Steam, what temperature does water evaporate? You guys remember from class? That's right. 212 is what it evaporates at elevation. It's a little bit less. Or 100 degrees Celsius. You guys know that's how Celsius is based? I think that makes so much more sense. It's based on the freezing point and boiling point of water. Carson, did you know that? Freezing is 0 degrees Celsius, boiling is 100 degrees Celsius. Yeah, see, that makes so much more sense. I don't know why we don't use that scale. Anyway, Fahrenheit, freedom units anyway, for the win. But here's the thing, at 212 degrees when you're steaming broccoli, Tyson, you're also destroying, that kind of heat is destroying a lot of the nutrients of the food. So the idea behind our cookware, Rhonda, is that it uses the minimal amount of water. Okay, if you were to cook carrots in our cookware, for example, you'd put like a half a cup of water. You put the carrots in there, and it's going to heat it from all sides evenly, which is what boiling does, but without extracting the nutrients, all those nutrients are staying in there into the carrot. Because you can cook it all the way through from all sides at a lower temperature with a minimal amount of water. And so actually, like, and I've done taste tests before. If you taste carrots that have been cooked in waterless cookware versus non-waterless cookware that you just boiled, the ones in the waterless cookware taste better because like the nutrients are all retained. And that's what Derek's about to explain for you.
We're cooking it from all sides, so you're not going to have any cold spots on your pan. Cutco cookware actually conducts heat so well that it's stackable cookware, so you can do multiple layers of cooking on just one burner. Now the cool thing with Cutco cookware is it's actually low moisture or waterless cookware. So to reference other cookware, let's say we're boiling broccoli. A lot of times we just do it fully immersed in water, and by the end of it, all the water's green, which unfortunately that's about 80% of the nutrients in the broccoli, and it's a lot of the flavor too. Now with Cutco cookware, the cool thing is all we need is a little bit of water. So here, if we just put a little bit of water in the pan, and then we're gonna splash it around to get the whole thing coated on the inside. Now we're gonna spin the lid, and you guys can see that the lid is spinning very freely, okay? Almost frictionless. And what that is gonna do is that's gonna tell us that a vapor seal has formed. Now I'm yanking on the lid here just to show you that it's got the suction there. And that suction is going to trap all of the flavor and all of the water and all the nutrients right inside the pan. Now, like I was mentioning earlier, we've got the 5-ply construction, so the lid is going to be nearly as hot as the bottom in just a couple minutes of being on the stove. So we're cooking food evenly from all sides. Kind of like the same concept of boiling, but without the water, because the water is extracting all the nutrients. So our food is going to keep all the nutrients and all the flavor right inside. Like all Cutco products, Cutco cookware is backed by the Forever Guarantee, so it's fixed or replaced for free forever. Not just your lifetime, but this is a legacy cookware set you'll be able to pass down from generation to generation.
All right, so that's like cookware training 101. Now, here's the thing about Cutco's cookware. Cutco's cookware is made in the United States. We are not the ones that manufacture it, though, in the factory. For those of you who toured the factory, you know that. Our cookware is made in West Bend, Wisconsin, by a cookware manufacturer. We put our Cutco logo on it, but so it's still American made, it's still American materials, and it's still forever guaranteed. Now, here's what I'll say. Our cookware, just so you know, if you were to look up, like, let's go here, we're gonna go Kitchen Craft, which are like the goats of this kind of cookware, Kitchen Craft cookware. Let's see, do we have a price for sets here? Sweet, let's go cookware, bakeware. What's new? Saucepans. How do I look up a set? Anyway, Kitchen Crafts cookware can run anywhere between 5 to 10 grand. Now, these guys, just so you know, have a lot more bells and whistles. Okay. So, Gwyneth, if you have Salad Master is another one, Salad Master, Kitchen Craft, they do come with more bells, a little like some more bells and whistles. So, Cutco's cookware is not like the best of the industry cookware, but it's also still constructed pretty much the same. It just has a few less bells and whistles. And if you're looking at just like a straight value perspective, Cutco's cookware price wise is better than our competitors. Now, if they want if they want the Lamborghini and Ferrari features, then they can go with one of the other ones. That's fine. But as far as cookware is concerned, for 1,500 or 3,000 bucks, they can get a set of pots and pans they're going to use for the entire rest of their lives. That, and arguably, by the way, they're going to use pots and pans more than they might use kitchen knives. Okay. So, anybody feel like they got a little bit better heads up on like what the cookware is if customer has questions? Okay. So that's something you could also ask about. Hey, Mrs. Jones, do you have good pots and pans? Oh, you don't? Oh, if they're like, well, kind of, I don't know. Oh, cool. No worries, Mrs. Jones. Let me walk you through this. And if it sounds like something you're interested in, we can go from there. All right. But if she's like, so you just say, hey, Mrs. Jones, um, are you interested in the cookware? Or could you see yourself using good cookware? And if she's like, probably not a today thing. Hey, no worries, Mrs. Jones. Is it on your like list? I don't know. All right, no worries. We'll move on. No, it is awesome, by the way, when you get a set of cookware put on the like list of like, oh yeah, we would like to have that because it makes it easier to drop down. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. All right, can openers. World's best can opener. How many of you over the years have had junky can openers that mom's had to replace a whole bunch of times? All right. Every couple of years, it's like 15, 20 bucks on a can opener. All right. It's a $60 Cutco can opener, but they never have to buy it ever again. Could you see yourself using that, Mrs. Jones? You could. Awesome. Hey, we got other chopping knives. We've got outdoor knives. Let's pretend Mrs. Jones wants to get a K-bar for her brother-in-law because his birthday's coming up, and let's say her husband likes to fish. Okay. We're going to add those to the cart. Can you see yourself using those? How many? Actually, you know what? I think my son would like a fisherman's solution too. Okay, cool. Mrs. Jones garden tools. We've got the world's best garden tools. They hold 300 pounds of torque pressure without bending or breaking. These are awesome, Mrs. Jones. The bypass pruners are phenomenal. Just so you guys all know, I've used those bypass pruners more, I think, the last month than I've ever like touched them in my entire life because guess what? I'm HM3 now, and it's one of those things where like I'm constantly in the backyard with the bypass pruners. Now, how many of you have ever used pruners that get gummed up, nasty, or rusted? Okay. This is the sales pitch, Gwenny, on the pruners. Have you ever used pruners that get gummed up, nasty, or rusted? The great thing about the Cutco pruners, Gwenny, is you can send them back every spring or every winter when the snow hits the ground, and they'll oil them, sharpen them, and send them back to you, and you'll always have a fresh pair of pruners. For people that do a lot of gardening, that's a big deal. Always feeling like they have a fresh pair of pruners. Could you see yourself using those? You could? Great. Ms. Jones, do you like to barbecue? Cool. These ones are great. Most people buy a $60 barbecue set from Walmart, but these ones are guaranteed forever. What do you think? No, you're good? All right, sounds good. Mrs. Jones, who do you know coming up? Who do you know who's got a birthday coming up in the next 12 months that you could buy some Cutco for? Next 12 months. That's everybody in the next year, by the way. Right, that's the joke. But is Ms. Jones, you know anybody who's got a birthday, wedding, or holiday coming up? Cool. Could you see yourself giving a gift set? Okay, sounds good. Now, the one thing that, oh, did you guys know we're making green table knives now? Look at that. Yeah, green table knives, Staley. They just came out. Um, limited while supplies last. So we got a little special edition run of green. Okay, the one thing that this is missing that I'm going to give you a quick tip on is this page right here. Right? What I think, Kirsten, that we could definitely do a better job is having like the specialty pieces built into the gifts and accessories. And so maybe that's something I need to email Fred about. Okay. But let's pretend this is what we've got so far. We can come back to those specialty knives a little bit later and we can do like a Cutco like trivia on all of these. But let's say that we get to the end here and the customer's already agreed to buy the homemaker and the entertainer pack. And we went through the wish list or the like list and she's added a few more things that she might like to get to her list. Okay. So now we've got our cart. And how do we know what to bonus? Well, we've already bonused the entertainer pack, and now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other items. It's a $4,000 list here. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to give a great deal to the customer. We know that she's probably not going to take the first deal. She might. But what we're going to do is we're going to show her pitch everything with everything all together, and then we're going to trim that down strategically. And so we can help her find a situation where maybe she decides to get a can opener and a few extra pieces. So how many of you have used Order Advisor before? Okay. So if we go in here to Order Advisor, we can go from cart, and this tells us what's the best thing to bonus, Tyson, in order from best CPO reduction to price like value here. So we make so many stinking table knives, it doesn't take as much of a hit on our CPO to bonus a table knife as opposed to like a pair of bypass pruners. So we're going to start at the top here. We're going to bonus the table knives, bonus the can opener, bonus the fisherman solution. What are we at now? We're at a 15% bonus limit. Okay, so she's buying the homemaker in the flatware chest. We bonus the K-bar. What does that come out to be? 20? Shoot. Should we bonus the bypass pruners? That's a little bit much. Let's unbonus the bypass pruners. Okay. Now here's the way you pitch this. Ready? Let's go to our wish list. We're going to hit update. We're going to show pricing. Here's the way you show this, okay? Now, before you show the wish list, let me give you the Cutco owner emotional roller coaster close. Okay, you guys ready? Anytime you do a demo for a Cutco owner, Tyson, and you've got a big list like this, here's the way I always frame this. Gwenny, if you could go back, well, let me put it this way. Gwenny, anytime somebody buys Cutco, whether it's their first time or their 100th time, Sean, they always go through what I like to call an emotional roller coaster. It's what do I want versus what do I need versus what can we afford. And I got to tell you, anytime that somebody buys Cutco, Kirsten, they always end up in the same place, which is happy customer land. You guys see that? And it's what do we want? Hi, what do we need? What can we afford, right? Every time somebody buys Cutco, they end up in happy customer land. Now, Gwenny, I got to ask you, if you could go back all those years, 25 years ago when you bought your Cutco for the first time, if you had to go back 25 years ago and buy it all over again, would you do it, knowing how much value it's offered? That's a really important question, Tyson, because every single time they're like, yeah, we would go back. It's been awesome over the last 25 years. And sometimes you'll have customers that'll be like, yeah, it was a big investment when we first did it, because we were kind of young and we didn't have, a whole lot of money, but it's been amazing over the last 20 years. Or sometimes you'll have people that are like, yeah, I wish we would have bought more when we were first, when we first bought Cutco. Awesome. So Mrs. Jones, Angel, what I've got here is I've got your wish list, okay? And this is everything you could see yourself using over the next couple of decades. Now, the retail value of that, by the way, comes out to $5,938. Now, Mrs. Jones, I want to earn your business today. And and I'm in a big contest for the summer for the All-American Scholarships daily, or Gwyneth, I'm really trying to hit my goal by getting to 10, $50,000 in career sales by May. And so what I can do is, if you get the homemaker, the flatware chest, and the bypass pruners, what I can do, since those are some bigger ticket items, Mrs. Jones, I can buy you the rest of that stuff for free. So you'd be getting the K-bar for your brother-in-law, the fisherman's solution for your son and your husband, and your extra table knives and your entertainer pack for free. That drops the price down to $3,680, and on the 5-pay that comes out to be $740. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, is that something you'd like to get today? Does everybody see what we did there? Anytime anybody buys Cutco, they end up in happy customer land. If you could go back and buy it, would you? Yep. They get some primed, by the way, because they're thinking of the value that they've got. Here's what it normally is. Here's what I can do today. And here's what it comes out to be on the 5-pay. How does that sound? Right. And you ask for the order. Now, if you did a good job building the wish list, you should actually have too much stuff on your wish list. You should have stuff on your wish list where they're like, listen, Jesse, that's a really great deal. But the flatware, it's just not a priority for us today, right? Or that's just too much for us today. So, Sean, here's your question. Anytime you build a list of stuff, this is how you drop down with the list, okay? I'd write this down. What 1 to 3 pieces is not a priority for you today? No problem, Mrs. Jones. I get it. Let me ask you this. What 1 to 3 pieces are not a priority for you today? It's really important that you ask that the right way on a wish list. Because Gwenny, if you say, hey, so what pieces do you want to get? They're like, well, we'll just get, we'll just buy a trimmer or we'll just buy the homemaker. Okay. But it's what 1 to 3 pieces are not a priority for you. And then, by the way, half the time I'm the person that's like cutting the flatware for them. Because I also, I told them if they could see themselves using it in the next 10 days, weeks, months, years, or decades. I framed it to be that big. I'm the first person that's like, Mrs. Jones, is the flatware a priority for you today? It's not? All right, no worries. Well, let me take that off and let me show you what it would be without that. All right. So I'm going to cut the flatware. And then we're going to unbonus everything else because we need to go reset everything on our order advisor. Right. I already told her she already bought the entertainer pack and the homemaker and got the entertainer pack for free. So now we're going to go to order advisor. We're going to go from cart and we're going to bonus some stuff again. And this time it looks like we can bonus. That's too much. How about we unbonus the fisherman solution? And instead we bonus, where are we at right there? 16. Here, let's split those fisherman solutions. We're going to set this quantity to 1. All right. And then we're going to bonus one of these. What are we at now? 21 bonus point percentage. Perfect. So then I go, all right, cool, Mrs. Jones. So let me show you this. Without the flatware chest, because I understand that's not a priority for you today. That's a cool thing to have, and you can always call me back in the future to get that. What we've got now is we've got the homemaker set and the entertainer pack. We still got those 4 table knives for extra family occasions, your can opener, K-bar for your brother-in-law's birthdays, and your couple of fisherman solution and your bypass pruners. What I can do in this case is normally what we've got here is worth 32.03. I can drop that down to 22.42. And just so you know, Mrs. Jones, what I'm doing is I'm buying you the entertainer pack, the table knives, and the fisherman solution and the can opener for free. So that brings your monthly payment down to $452, and you never have to buy knives ever again. And you have Christmas and Father's Day taken care of. How does that sound? Now, they were just looking at a $700 5-pay option. They were looking at spending $3,000 some odd dollars, and now you're down to $22.42. How much more reasonable does that look? Right? Now, if you looked at a $22.42 like order, like from like right out of the gate, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is a big order. But they just were looking at, at almost a $4,000 order, like $5,000 to $6,000 worth of stuff. And now we're down to $22.42 for $452 on a 5-pay. You could absolutely close on that. No, if they still say no to that, no problem, Mrs. Jones. What's the question? which 1 to 3 pieces are not a priority for you today, right? It's like, how important is it that you get your brother-in-law that K-bar? Well, we were thinking we might get him something else. No worries, Mrs. Jones. And how about the bypass pruners? Are those a priority? And sometimes customers will be like, yeah, those are a priority. I definitely want those. Oh, okay, cool. What about the fisherman solution for your husband? Well, he's got a whole bunch of fishing knives. He's nice. Okay, what about the one for your son? Well, he would actually like that. All right, well, Mrs. Jones, let's get rid of those two. Let me show you what it would look like if we did that. Order advisor from cart, table knives, can opener, right at 20. We'll call it that. So, Mrs. Jones, what we've got now is in your cart, you've got $2,800 worth of stuff. But what I can do is, because you're getting the homemaker set, it's already got a discount, and I'm buying you the entertainer pack, the table knives, and the can opener for free. If you get the homemaker, the bypass pruners, and the fisherman solution, that comes out to be $19.75. That's only $3.99 on the 5-pay. So would you like to use the debit card or credit card? Did you want that in classic or pearl? That's called a soft close. Write that down, soft close. When you know you're getting close, it's okay to throw the soft close in there. So, hey, did you want to use the debit card or a credit card? Cool. Did you want to get that classic or pro? Now, the great part about a soft close, Gwenny, is a lot of times customers are just like, oh, yeah, well, can we use an American Express? Can we use the Visa? Great. Awesome. Did you want, but if it's not the right option for them, what they'll do is they'll just give you the objection that they have. Ms. Jones, you want to use a credit card or a debit card? Well, hold on. I don't know. It's just not the right time. And then they give you the objection, and then you're able to handle that objection. And you can either maybe give them a little bit better deal by bonusing something else and sweeten it up, or you cut another few pieces. Now, let me give you a few more phrases here. If the customer is kind of on the edge, like, oh, you know what? I think maybe we'll just have to get it later. Here's a phrase that you can use. Mrs. Jones, if I was able to give you my rock bottom deal today, would you want to go ahead and get it? That's a really good temperature sensing question, because Gwenny, by asking, hey, if I was able to give you my rock bottom deal today, would you want to go ahead and get it? Sometimes customers are like, yeah, no, I just probably wouldn't be able. And that tells you that you're still too far from like their comfort zone. The other time though, Rhonda, customers are going to be like, well, what's your rock bottom deal? Oh, gotcha, Mrs. Jones. And then what you do is you always leave a little bit of bonus limit in reserve here. Tell you what, Mrs. Jones, if I was able to give you my rock bottom deal, what I can do is I can bonus the extra fisherman solution. It brings it down to 1975. Let's hit update. That drops that down to 373. And so you're getting the homemaker set, the bypass pruners, and I'm buying you all the rest of the stuff for free. How does that sound? Right? And sometimes just that little extra squeeze of stuff, she's like, all right, cool, we can do that. Now, another question you can ask if they're uncomfortable, if you want to write this down, is that a little too much or a lot too much? If they're like, oh, it's just a price thing. Oh, Mr. Jones, no worries. Are we talking a little too much or a lot too much? A lot too much, let's drop down. A little too much, let's see if we can find some extra stuff to squeeze, or see if there's a way we might be able to bonus something to give them the right price. But the nice part about that, Sean, is it gives you, again, if I was able to give my rock bottom deal, like, oh, still, it's still a little bit too much. Or you could ask, hey, is that a little too much or a lot too much? Right? Now, let's say the customer decides to go ahead and get this, right? What do we got here? We've got a 26 bonus limit. So they're buying a homemaker set. They're getting the entertainer pack, the table knives, the can opener for free, and they're buying the bypass pruners, getting fisherman solution. All right. So what you've got now is you've got an 1193 CPO order, which if we compare that to what they were going to buy before, 1193 CPO, if we delete everything else out, is actually less CPO than what we started with. So probably don't give that much free stuff, right? But they're getting a heck of a good deal, and they're going to give you a ton of recommendations. Does everybody follow that? But that's the same process whether they bought a homemaker set the first time And by the way, if you needed to use the super shears to close the homemaker, which is appropriate too, and the entertainer pack. Yeah, you added a few more CPO to your order. But hopefully what you gain from that is add more things to your wish list. That's how you drop down. And that's the same thing you're going to do with Cutco owners to help build the list of things that they want to get. And in another key staff meeting, I can teach how to upgrade stuff. Is that helpful? Okay. Everybody go ahead and put in the chat box, what's your biggest takeaway from the workshop?